SAO Online Ordinal Scale. Here's my full non-spoiler review on the SAO movie. I was fortunate enough to see it early in Japan in a private screening. Afterwards, I even got a chance to visit the A1 studio where they made the movie. But anyway, like I said, this is completely non-spoiler. I do plan to have a spoiler video, but that'll be sometime later on. Let's go ahead and get started. The Ordinal Scale story. SAO Online Ordinal Scale takes place sometime after the Mother's Rosario arc. This time, our favorite characters are tackling augmented reality. It's quite a change from VR. I'm sure you've seen the Augma device in all the promos and trailers. If you're someone that's gotten a chance to play Pokemon Go, this movie is going to feel much more relatable. Throughout the movie, there's just a lot of pre-battle scenes where there's a lot of people gathering. It just made me think back to Pokemon Go when I was going to the park for Pokestops and seeing a ton of other people gathering there too. This time around, the actual game that everyone is playing is called Ordinal Scale, or simply OS. Much like Pokemon Go, players are using their AR device to play the game. Everyone eventually gathers in a specific spot around the city for the upcoming raid boss event. I'd imagine Pokemon Go will eventually do this for legendary Digimon. Oops, I mean legendary Pokemon. Anyway, one of the major things that intrigued everyone about SAO was the death game aspect. Once your HP goes to 0, you're officially done in both worlds. In GGO, the possibility of dying in the game was brought back in a way. As for Ordinal Scale, they're quick to remind us that just because you're not in the death game, it doesn't mean you're completely safe. Every single one of us is mortal and often pretty vulnerable. If someone wanted to badly enough, they could easily shoot you or stab you. This SAO movie gives us a very fresh reminder of this early on. It's actually fun if you think about how something should be so obvious. After all, every single one of us has a number. It's just something we don't actively think about. What this boils down to is that the stakes are raised for our beloved characters again. Asuna and Kirito. SAO Ordinal Scale helps to remind us that SAO is a story centered around these two, Kirito and Asuna. The trailers and promos have been screaming it out a lot. Ordinal Scale includes a huge focus on building Asuna and Kirito's relationship. If you're someone that's rooting for this couple, you're gonna love this movie that much more. Personally, I've always been a fan of Asuna, and I just wish we had gotten more of her in the first SAO season. That might be why that after seeing the Mother's Rosario arc that was heavily focused on Asuna, it just became one of my favorite arcs. This whole movie feels like it transitions seamlessly from the end of Mother's Rosario arc into it. If anything, there's more of a focus of Asuna in this movie than of Kirito. And yes, Asuna kicks some major ass in this. By far, my favorite scene in the movie is Asuna being a badass in one particular fight scene. Asuna's voice actress Haruka also told us that this particular scene was her favorite too. The new Ordinal Scale characters. Ordinal Scale introduces us to 3 new characters. They're the ones highlighted in every trailer. There's Yuna, Eiji, and an Augma scientist, Dr. Shigemura. All of these are individuals who directly or indirectly have had their lives changed forever by the SAO death game. I think the movie does a good enough job fleshing them out in a 2-hour time period. At the end of this movie, I was definitely getting emotional over one of these characters. Without getting into spoiler territory, the movie did leave me curious to finding the backstory of Yuna and Eiji. Lucky enough, a side novel for them has just been announced, so definitely look forward to that. The animation. SAO Ordinal Scale is a movie, so no surprise that it just has beautiful animation. It's notably higher quality, especially if you compare it to the TV SAO anime. I know some of you guys are going to be rewatching the SAO anime before seeing the movie. For those that do, the difference in animation with this movie is just going to stand out that much more for you. The best animation for this movie comes during the different battle scenes, and there's quite a few of them. I definitely can't wait for this movie to be released physically, just so I can see some of these scenes frame by frame. Specifically, I'm thinking about the final battle scene. The studio seriously went all out for this. You literally can't even blink, or you might miss something. The sound and music. Whether you love SAO or love to hate it, you definitely can't deny that this anime has one of the best soundtracks. With this movie, we have the return of Yuki Kajiura. She's back to produce even more amazing music for this movie. Besides the movie score, there's just a sound for everything else going on. When you hear this in a theater, it just highlights it that much more. The movie does have a ton of raid battle scenes. This means a lot of sword and metal striking each other. I would just say that you could really feel all that metal clashing. The movie also features Lisa's new song, Catch the Moment. I can't say that I fell in love with the song at first, but after seeing Lisa perform it live, I definitely became a fan of it. A couple of dislikes / nitpicks. After seeing this movie twice, I was trying really hard to think of anything that bothered me or that I didn't like. I'm not even sure I'd call these nitpicks, but I did come up with 3. 1. The animation shifts. Alright, so one of my huge positives was the gorgeous animation scenes. As a bit of a disclaimer, I do think I'm most likely to notice this animation stuff, since I do run this channel. Part of this involves editing video down to a single frame. So throughout the movie, in some of the more quieter scenes, I did notice a difference in animation. It looked more along the lines of what we got in the TV anime, which, honestly, isn't necessarily a bad thing. It was just more noticeable compared to what we got in the action scenes. And that's really just because in the action scenes, they go all out. That being said, let me also mention this. In my second viewing of the movie, I didn't notice this almost at all. That might have been because I saw it in a bigger screen. So depending on the size of the screen you see this in, it might stand out a little or not at all. Number 2. So many characters. At this point, the cast of SAO has gotten pretty huge. There's just so many wonderful characters. So, there is a question about how they would split the screen time between them. I think it's easy to guess for a simple way to deal with this. Very early on in the movie, they do find a way to remove one of these characters. I could totally understand the choice for this, but for anyone that's watching who's a fan of this character, you'll definitely be disappointed when she leaves. Number 3. The AR Augma device. From the very beginning, I was never really a fan of the way that this thing looked like. I think I got used to the design over time. Even now, I can't say that I love it, but I don't necessarily dislike it either. It's just whatever. The director of this movie did explain to us how they came up with the look for it. They even got someone from Sony to help design it. Practically, it makes a lot of sense. There's really 2 defining features for it. 1, it's not supposed to be super futuristic. And secondly, the device is supposed to be small enough so anyone can carry it without a second thought. In other words, very lightweight. Perhaps this Augma device was also inspired by the device used in Excel World. The director simply said he didn't know when we asked him about this. The post-credit scene. They do go ahead and include a post-credit scene, Avengers style. I might do a separate video on this, but let me quickly touch on the post-credit scene. At this point, it's not really a spoiler. It says in big English writing, SAO will return. So freaking awesome. SAO Season 3 is coming, eventually. That's the big question. When exactly? I will say that SAO Ordinal Scale does serve as a bridge between the second season and whenever this SAO sequel comes out. After seeing the movie, I did get a chance to visit the A1 studio and the topic of Season 3 did come up. The director and some of the other staff there were quick to say, no comment. So take that as you will. You can start taking bets on when Season 3 will be released. My overall thoughts and recommendation. Honestly, I was scared going into this movie. There's been all this massive build up for it, and especially as a huge fan of the series, it was pretty hard not to have some huge expectations for it. Even when I was in the theater, I kept thinking to myself, there's no way this movie is gonna live up to all the hype. So far, I've been able to see Ordinal Scale twice. The first was in an early private screening, and the second was in some random theater in Japan. I could honestly say this, I simply enjoyed every minute of it. In the movie, there's a total of 3 action scenes, along with a few others spread in between. They really did an excellent job in the pacing. There's never a dull moment in the movie. It's funny because this movie actually gave me a couple things that I didn't even know that I wanted to see. Definitely a shout out to the final action scene in the movie. There's also this mystery element that's thrown in to keep the viewers guessing. This just made me wonder and think about this movie, how this could have worked as a short 6 or 7 episode story arc. So in all, SAO Ordinal Scale helps to tie up everything that's led up to it from Season 1 and Season 2. It puts a nice bow at the very top. If they wanted to, they could choose to close the book on SAO now and be done with it. This movie would be the perfect ending. As you guys know, SAO Season 3 has been confirmed with this movie, so thankfully, it's not over just yet. So, should you see this movie? If you're a huge SAO fan, or even a casual fan of the series, I would highly suggest checking this out in theaters if you do get a chance, especially if the movie's playing close to you. I already want to see it again, but unfortunately the closest theater is 2 to 3 hours away. Now, if you aren't a fan of the SAO series, I'm not even sure why you're still watching. Oh, and for those that are fans of the SAO Abridged series, whether you like or dislike SAO, there's definitely some material in this movie that people will latch onto. If you made it this far, please be sure to give a thumbs up to the video, especially if you're an SAO fan. Let me know how you felt about this SAO Ordinal Scale movie if you have seen it. Which scene was your most favorite? If you do want to talk spoilers, just be sure to mark them. I do plan to do a spoiler video for this movie, but that's gonna have to wait until this movie gets a worldwide release. And I'm not talking about the theater release. Anyway, definitely be sure to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. There's a lot more anime reviews and anime videos coming, and I'll see you guys later.